Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'll be covering some VR news followed by a lineup of some new VR games for March in 2026. The first VR gaming showcase of 2026 is coming this month, and while we haven't got an exact release date, I'm pretty sure we're going to find out very soon what that date is, and of course I'll be live streaming and I hope you'll all be able to join me. Less than a year after launch, Rebellion's Zombie Army VR is now losing its online cooperative game mode at the end of March. This is due to Unity's phased exit from their multiplayer game server hosting service. Either way, playing Zombie Army VR online is one of this game's biggest strengths, since it does get pretty repetitive after the first couple of levels. So I do imagine this is one of the big nails in the coffin for this game. Blade and Sorcery Nomad got a free new update called Sentara, and is the second of 4 planned content updates. In this update, you get a Sentara themed map to explore in Blade and Sorcery's sandbox and crystal hunt game modes, as well as several new weapons, armor, and some new lore. The Sentara map is a maritime themed land with lighthouses and pirate ships, and all the weapons are obviously inspired by maritime history. There's also a new physics system to simulate buoyancy in water, meaning objects will float differently depending on their weight, and obviously that includes bodies. The Midnight Walk gets a permanent price discount on PSVR2 and PCVR, going from the original $40 down to $30. Keep in mind, I've not heard of any efforts made from the developers to fix the glitches they introduced by fixing the low resolution on PSVR2, but on PCVR this obviously isn't an issue, and even though the game's story didn't really quite hit me in the feels as it seemed to for many others, I can't deny it's a truly unique game in terms of art design, and I do believe it's still worth checking out. Golf Plus, which currently sits in the top 20 best-selling MetaQuest games of all time, is coming to PCVR, and this will act as a critical step towards an eventual PSVR2 version release. Plus, the team are targeting a unified experience across all platforms for the multiplayer, with shared physics and cross-platform support. The fan-made VR version of Rare's N64 classic Perfect Dark is now in the works by developer Alex Latux, and is derived in part from the Perfect Dark decompilation project from 2022. The video you're watching now shows the player running through Perfect Dark's opening level, and there's even some recent side-by-side footage showing the game running beautifully. And if you want to stay up to date with the progress of this developer's work, I'll leave a link to his channel in this video's description. A development team called Trickforward Studio are making VR games in VRChat, and will eventually move these games from VRChat to Steam and consoles in the future. And their first game is called Fish, which looks very similar to Nintendo's Animal Crossing and aims to be a standout experience, which is both playable as a game and an online destination to visit. There's currently over 2,000 fish to catch, 4 scenic islands, purchasable boats, upgradable fishing rods, mini games, and changing weather cycles to provide different vistas throughout your time playing. A free limited time mission from Hitman World of Assassination called Patient Zero Requiem is available to play in VR right now till March the 24th. This features the famous actress called Milla Jovovich, who starred in the Resident Evil films and Fifth Element. And Forefront, which is currently everyone's favourite online VR multiplayer shooter, got some new DLC in the form of a new map called Oasis and a new vehicle. They've also made a permanent price increase to the early access model of $25, and will eventually most likely hit $30 upon its full release. So if you haven't got the game already, I would advise you get it now and then thank me later. Now on some new VR games, starting with Rager. This is a VR music action brawler currently available on Quest and Steam, with the PSVR2 version coming March the 5th, priced at $15. Rager combines rhythm elements with combat in a digital realm setting. The game places players in an arena that forms around them, with enemies that appear in sync with the music tracks, requiring you to use timed attacks, blocks, ducks, and parries. Available weapons include a sword, mace, axe, hammer, claws, fists, and some one-handed weapons and close quarter style combat. The combat also occurs in 180 degrees or 360 degrees, and the campaign consists of 12 levels including 3 boss fights. There's a freestyle mode available which provides additional levels, with 4 currently available on Steam, with more planned in the future, and 12 levels already available on Quest, which are all unlocked from the start of the game with custom weapon selection. In regards to the PSVR2 version, Rager will include a native 90Hz mode, HDR visuals, Sense controller haptics, headset rumble, and a platinum trophy. Plus there's planned updates which include a survival mode, a level editor, and potential multiplayer. On March the 12th we get the full release of Bootstrap Island, which is one of the games I'm really excited to check out this month. It's a VR survival roguelike developed and published by Maru VR. Players are shipwrecked in the 17th century on a deadly tropical island where you have to defend yourself against beasts, different types of weather and day and night cycles, and realistic physics. There's no tutorial tutorial and instead relies on you learning how to survive, but when you die you also unlock items and progress. The full release also sees the addition of the tribes, there's also trading, a story conclusion via cutscenes and voice acting, there's new weapons, combat and a boss. The price is currently $25 and I'm not sure if this will increase with the full release, and a PSVR2 port is also planned in 2026, plus there's a demo available right now which I highly recommend you check out because last time I played this game I had an absolute blast. Maid of Sker is coming March the 17th to PSVR2 and PCVR, with a MetaQuest version potentially in the works later down the line. It's a first-person survival horror game developed and published by Wales Interactive, and it adapts the 2020 non-VR game set in 1898 at Sker Hotel amid Welsh folklore. And this involves a story about the Williams family and tells of a legacy of torture, slavery, piracy and supernatural events. The core mechanic of the game uses 3D sound based on AI that detect noise from breathing, footsteps and collisions. Players must use stealth by hiding in the shadows and a phonic modulator device to emit sound waves that can stun the enemies. The gameplay also involves some puzzling, collecting notes and dolls for multiple endings. Now, according to a website called Memory Alpha, Star Trek Infection, which got delayed from its original release back in December, is now apparently coming sometime this month to Quest and PCVR, and is a narrative-driven survival horror game developed by Played with Fire and published by Broken Mirror Games. Star Trek Infection is set in the Star Trek universe during the Deep Space Nine and Next Generation era. Players take on the role of a Vulcan Starfleet officer on a covert mission aboard the USS Lumen, a Defiant-class prototype starship. The crew is missing and an unknown entity has infested the ship, but has also infected the player's body, which causes physical mutations that unlock new abilities while eroding your strong Vulcan sanity. Gameplay involves exploring the ruined vessel, using a medical tricorder to monitor conditions, and hypo sprays to treat or embrace the infection depending on what the game needs you to do. Players will be confronted by psychological horrors, including resurfacing traumatic memories. Grimlord is a dark fantasy Souls-like, and if previous reports are correct, should be coming to PSVR 2 this month and is already available on Steam and MetaQuest. Grimlord is built on Unreal Engine 5 and sees players awaken as a prisoner in a monastery deep in the Lonely Mountains, and you must undertake a quest against the tyrannical Grimlord across 3 chapters. Gameplay features physics-based VR combat with customizable weapons including swords, axes, daggers, bows, throwing weapons and magic over a 10-hour campaign with 12 unique enemies. Additional modes will include an arena mode, and multiplayer is apparently in development. Iron Guard Salvation, which is already available on Steam and Quest, is coming to PSVR 2 on March the 5th and is a real-time sci-fi strategy game where players must defend cities against invading enemies across 30 handcrafted levels on various worlds. The gameplay centers on resource management, where you must build and upgrade over 25 turrets, harvesters, factories and command 3 different heroes with unique abilities. And something that separates this game from other RTS games in the genre is that you actually pilot a drone that is also upgradable, so you actually get involved in the combat rather than just watching your decisions play out. You can switch between overhead command view for some immersive giant scale action and deploy super weapons. The enemies also adapt for each battle, making it pretty fresh to play, and even though I'm not a really big fan of RTS games, I actually really enjoyed the original Iron Guard, so I'm pretty excited to be checking out Salvation when it launches. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.